is exactly 9:30 a.m. and this is a Friday's edition of Prime Flash coming to you live from My Media Prime Television. I am Dolly Ngonde for presentation. Now, a man who goes by the name Wulvang, an indigene from the Debaye village, has been reportedly tortured mercilessly on his buttocks by subjects of the Lamido of Chebwa, who instructed them to beat him. According to sources, the Lamido had ordered his subjects to inflict Wulvang pains for allegedly injuring and insulting a native of the Chebwa area. Meantime, the population is calling on the forces of law and order to put an end to this inhumane form of punishment. We shall be bringing you updates into that story during our subsequent newscasts. Now, in crime-related news, some 10 bandits have been arrested in line with the recent organized highway robbery attacks on the Douala-Yaoundé stretch of road. The information was disclosed during a security meeting held here in Douala and was presided over by Territorial Administration Boss Paul Atanganji, which brought together the governors of the littoral and also the center regions respectively. Naivona picks up on this story from here.
Under firm instructions of President Paul Biya, Cameroon's Territorial Administration Boss Paul Atanganji has chaired an emergency security meeting to address the recent attacks along the Douala-Yaoundé highway made on travelers by highway robbers. During the security meeting, which took place March 15, 2023 in Puma, a locality in the Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region, the Minat boss disclosed about 10 suspected highway robbers who recently ambushed vehicles on the Yaoundé-Douala axis, especially at night, have been apprehended.
I have this sad news of these recurrent attacks on buses and traffic vehicles along the Yaoundé-Douala highway and the Yaoundé-Bafia-Bafsam highway. What I can tell you is that some of those culprits have been arrested and the investigations are ongoing.
Minister Paul Atanganji during the meeting was accompanied by Governors Nasseri Paul Beya of the Centre region and Samuel Dieudonné Ivahadibois of the Littoral region, as well as some administrative officials and security forces. To Minister Paul, it will entail the frank and total collaboration of the local population to apprehend these bandits and put a stop to highway robbery along the Douala-Yaoundé axis.
We have come to not tell the population to be confident in state institutions and to help us and give relevant information. We need intelligence. And we cannot work. The forces of law and order will do their job if we have the collaboration of the local population. That's why we have invited all traditional rulers, the population, the mayors, the stakeholders to work closely with the forces of law and order so that we can track down these criminals. And as I said, there is no hiding place for these criminals because at least those who have been picked up are trying to give us the information on how they operate, what we call the modus operandi. So as from now, the security situation in the two regions is completely under control, and now we have to reinforce certain measures, and those are security measures which are not for public consumption, but sooner or later you will know what is being done. But I can tell you that there is no hiding place for those criminals, and I think that it is better for them to go and hand over themselves to the closest police station.
While investigations are well on course to track down bandits still on the run, Paul Atanganji Ikli announced the reinforcement of security measures to protect people and their properties. The Territorial Administration boss ended by commissioning traditional rulers and parents in villages along the highway to educate their children on dangers of such crimes, while reiterating that there will be no mercy in the implementation of the law, neither will there be any hiding place for criminals.
And it should be also noted that Immediately after this meeting was held, another security meeting was held in Ekiti in Adeya, where the senior divisional officer for the Sanaga Maritime Division also reassured the population that security measures have been toppled to ensure that this doesn't happen again anytime soon. Now, in more crime news, let's now take you over to Yaoundé, where kidnapping and assassinations continue plaguing the capital city since the start of this year. Recently, a 23-year-old University of Buea student was discovered dead around the Van neighborhood upon her arrival in Yaoundé, as she had been booked for an interview at the U.S. Embassy. It should be noted as well that it was in that same neighborhood, Van, where a certain Jasmine had been kidnapped with her 2 kids. Details of this story and many other cases in this report done for us by Catherine Kongwe.
A university student identified as Zengu Lois, 23 years of age, has been found dead after 6 weeks since she was kidnapped upon her arrival in Yaoundé, Cameroon's political capital. Zengu Lois, who hails from Bangem in the Coupe Maningoba Division Southwest region, is said to have left Buea on February 2nd for an interview with the U.S. Embassy in Yaoundé when some unidentified men seized her around the Van neighborhood upon her arrival. According to her close relatives, she was found dead on Tuesday, March 14, despite them having paid a ransom to the kidnappers for her release. Meanwhile, immediately the payment were made, the hoodlums went on to switch off their contact line, making the family members ever more curious. Days later, her corpse is discovered at Van, the same neighborhood where she was kidnapped last month. Before the mishap, Zengu Lois is said to have been studying at the University of Buea, as her killing now adds up to the series of assassination cases recorded in the city of Yaoundé since the start of this year, with the most recent assassination of journalist Martinez Zogo, whose murderers are yet to be identified in the Yaoundé Tribunal Court. Away from that, another woman was kidnapped alongside her 2 kids on her way to see her husband. And just last month, another lady from France who came to bury her family member was also killed mysteriously along the Yaoundé-Simalé stretch of road. The same case befell a man who was killed and packed in a bag abandoned by the street still in Yaoundé. It should be borne in mind that these and many other cases have been making headlines from this particular part of the country, as many are calling on the forces of law and order to tighten security measures across the country.
That was Catherine Congo reporting there. In more news, now in the southwest region, 3 separatist fighters have also been killed and several others injured in the Bakwele village, a locality in the Eyomojok subdivision of the southwest region of the country. This was during a gun battle exchange between the separatist fighters and also the forces of law and order in that part of the country. As we get more details with Eileen Sama, who has been taking interest into that story. And in the absence of that report, which we hope to update you during our subsequent newscast, let's talk something else now, where late journalist Martinez Zogo's widow, Diane Zogo, has, through her lawyers, also distanced herself through a circulation or a purportedly burial program for her husband slated for April the 1st. According to sources, this report or this program has been produced by the deceased half-sister, Crescence Mugu, as we get details with Julian Dambe.
It has been over a month since the devastating death of former Yaoundé-based journalist Martinez Zogo, while arrest and detention has been made by government in order to ensure those responsible for the brutal murder of the former Amplitude radio manager pay for their crimes. There is currently controversy surrounding his burial. On March 14, 2023, a burial program began circulating on social media and is reportedly initiated by Zogo's half-sister, Crescence Mugu, on behalf of their family. And now, in a recent communique dated March 15, 2023, the lawyers representing Martinez Zogo's widow, Diane Zogo, shows she is not in support nor aware of the supposed burial program. The communique adds, only Diane Zogo has the legal rights to schedule her husband Martinez Zogo's funeral, and so any attempt to remove his corpse from the Yaoundé Central Hospital as per the trending funeral program without the wife's authorization will be an insult to the late journalist's memory and a shameful provocation. Some persons had even opined after the burial program began circulating that burying Zogo now will disfavor and downplay the quest for his justice. Also recall that over a dozen people are in pre-trial detention in connection with Zogo's death, including media businessman Amugu Belinga and head of Cameroon Secret Service Maxim Eko.
You are watching the 9:30 a.m. Prime Flash coming to you live from My Media Prime Television, and we stay to talk about the story which happened in the southwest region of 3 separatist fighters who have been killed, leaving several others wounded in the Bakwele village locality in the Yumojok subdivision of that part of the country. Now we're getting details that this was during a gun battle exchange between separatist fighters and also the forces of law and order. Eileen Sama comes up reporting now.
The 3 separatist fighters under the leadership of Ntui Amaka were intercepted at the Bakwele village junction by forces of law and order in Oyomojok subdivision, Manyo division of the southwest region of Cameroon on Tuesday, February 14, 2023. According to reports, the group of separatist fighters killed 3 women from Keshem village in Akwaya subdivision, Manyo division, on their way to the farm. They reportedly murdered a veterinary nurse in Bacho village. It is worth mentioning that the population of the area, badly hit by the ongoing armed conflict in the southwest region, jubilated over the death of the dreaded Ntui Amaka, whom they called Wicked Boy. Addressing the population shortly after the killing of the 3 notorious Amazonian fighters, the mayor of Mamfe Town, Robertson Tabenchong Ashu, thanked the population for their collaboration while giving the stakes of the security situation in that part of the country.
I'm actually very sad to see that very young children, youth like this, could temper themselves and the end time is dead. You can see those youths there, they are not even up to 35 years of age. How long are we going to bury our own? How long are we going to continue to muzzle with the state? Is it possible that we can fight the state? No, the end time is dead. I want to encourage the youth, those who gave information for these guys to be neutralized. Because last week we buried 4 parents of Akwaya from Keshan village. And the other week we buried how many? 2 from Bisoraba. And today is their own turn. I continue to encourage the population to collaborate with the forces of law and order.
Mayor Robertson Tabenchong also challenged the youth in the area to shun fear amid the crisis.
So I call on the population, they should shun fear and stand very strong against this barbaric act. There is time for war and there is time for peace. Now is a time for peace, and now is a time for us to put our hands on deck and develop our municipality together.
Note here that the lady who was killed recently, Madame Ayuk Magdalene, chief of the veterinary center, Bacho Akakbe, was abducted alongside 2 others days back before being murdered, even after paying 1.5 million francs CFA as ransom to the said separatist fighters.
Quite a disturbing situation there. We hope that the souls of the faithfully departed rest in perfect peace. Now, meantime, heads of states from the Central African sub-region are meeting in Yaoundé as they are brainstorming while seeking solutions to crises affecting the region. We also told that President Paul Biya's mandate as head of the CEMAC is also coming to an end. Bo Elvis would now tell us the context and stakes on which the summit will be unveiling from Yaoundé.
This 15th Ordinary Summit of CEMAC Heads of State holding in Yaoundé is a follow-up of the extraordinary conferences held in 2016, 2019 and 2021. It is holding at a time when the sub-region and Africa as a whole have been struggling with the consequences of multiple crises affecting CEMAC countries, as well as the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Economies have been complaining about the negative impact of the Russian-Ukraine war on the global supply chain of oil products as well as food and other agricultural material. CEMAC countries have repeatedly complained about barely struggling to recover from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Yaoundé Summit will be an occasion for the chairman of CEMAC, Paul Biya, to discuss his achievements and efforts towards the constitution of an economically integrated community. CEMAC heads of states will also examine how to preserve food security, endorse appointments of new officials to head institutions, take a look at cryptocurrency threats and staff rotation within the sub-region. President Paul Biya, chairman of CEMAC since March 24, 2019, will hand over to Faustin Archange Touadera, president of the Central African Republic.
You're welcome back, and we now take you to the northwest region, where in the conflict hit northwest region of the country, just like in the southwest region, a member of parliament, Honorable Richard Walang, has defied the odds by donating 2 classrooms, a head teacher's office, and some 60 benches to a government nursery and primary school in Chadkenze, in that part of the country. But of course, Charles Kiwa was there and now tells us exactly how the handing over ceremony went there in Womb.
The 2 classrooms constructed at Government Nursery and Primary School Chadkenze Womb, made up of a head teacher's office and 60 benches, handing over the project, the Member of Parliament for Menchum South constituency, Honorable Walang Richard Ebwa, declared meaningful development can only take place if the people work to restore normalcy. Describe education as a life wire for development.
And that's why today you will see for yourself we have struggled and make these children to study in a good condition. You will believe with me, if the population give us peace, give peace a chance, we will do more. And we are going to do more. We can't take children's education for a playground. We can't joke with future Cameroonians. We can't joke with our future leaders. That's why I decided that this structure should be put on and make sure it's a synergy. It's an inclusive development.
Appreciating the Member of Parliament's gesture, various speakers like the quarter head of Chadkenze, the region of Kusku, expressed the need for the primary school today in its permanent site. After 10 years, hosted by individuals who offer their private residence to see the school function.
Can look the way it used to be. For today, belong to this community. You yourself, you can see the happiness that people have. And the 2 classrooms and the head teacher's office with a modern toilet is a very great thing to this community.
The divisional delegate for basic education, Menchum, and the head teacher attest the new structures are going to facilitate the teaching and learning process.
Of very, very great importance to us, because it is spacious and the children will be able to sit freely, and we will be able to monitor how they are writing, shaping letters, which has been very difficult since the creation of this school.
Menchum SDO Abdullahi Aliu, reassuring the progressive return to normalcy, urged parents to send their children to school. It should be noted, Government Primary Nursery School Chadkenze Womb comprised of a nursery and full primary section from class 1 to 6. The Womb Council has granted 2 additional classrooms to the school, being constructed as the school administration begged for more classrooms. teachers, potable water and safe access to the school.
Thank you very much, Charles Kibwa, as your report concludes today's edition of Prime Flash. And dear viewers, thank you too for your kind attention. The news has been produced by Elvis, Modika, and I have been Dolly, Ngonde for presentation. General coordination came from Faith Tata and supervision from Kum Leonard. We give you a reminder of our subsequent programs at exactly 10 a.m. Cameroon time. The brief is coming up next with Lasha, Kingsley, and Khan. 10 Etapia amongst their guests. And also In the House comes up at exactly 11 a.m. Cameroon time. 12:30 p.m. Convo News is coming up, and also the rebroadcast of Prime are at exactly 1 p.m. Cameroon time. And that does it. We hope that you have a splendid weekend. Goodbye for now.